Welcome to the Balanced Scorecard. This is the third video of four talking about the Balanced Scorecard. Today we're going to look at the reinvention of Best Buy from 2012 through 2017. So we looked at the COVID impact on business and discussion of the Balanced Scorecard in video 1. We looked at the strategy map in video 2, and now we're looking at the reinvention of Best Buy. Video 4, we're going to look at the role of innovation and the large impact it has on the success of an organization. So we're going to look at the Balanced Scorecard in the context of innovation. Before we move into the discussion of Best Buy's reinvention between 2012 and 2017, we're going to take one more look at the hypothetical company that we looked at earlier. The name of the company was called Chipset, published in the cost accounting text of Horngren, 16th edition by Pearson. And Chipset was a company that was a semiconductor company and had outlined themselves in both a block format flow diagram to the left and a strategy map to the right. So let's take a quick look at this again before we go into the reinvention of Best Buy. We had the 4 layers: the strategic layer of finance, the customer perspective, internal business process perspective, the learning and growth perspective, and these are the 4 layers of the Balanced Scorecard. Now we also talked about measures and initiatives, target performance, and actual performance. And inside the strategy map, we looked at the top layer as being the operating income and increased shareholder value. And we looked at the second layer, which was the customer perspective, the third layer, which was the internal business process perspective, and the bottom layer, which was the leading and growth perspective. And the other important thing that we talked about in the Balanced Scorecard was the flow. And the flow is from the bottom to the top. And that's the way a Balanced Scorecard works. So you're going to see any of the changes that you see in the bottom layers will flow up to the top layer, which is the financial outcome. Same is true with the strategy map. Everything flows from the bottom to the top to the financial results. Shortly after Hubert Joly was appointed as CEO of Best Buy in 2012, he met with a financial analyst to outline the future of Best Buy. The first thing he did, which was very appropriate, was to outline the vision statement or an aspiration statement to be the specialty retailer who is a preferred authority and destination for technology products and solutions. The second thing that Hubert Joly did when he met with a financial analyst in 2012 was to walk through a 5-point plan called Renew Blue, and that really included many parts of the Balanced Scorecard. Now, Best Buy has not formally announced they are using the Balanced Scorecard, but the purpose of today's discussion is really to identify how all the parts of the Balanced Scorecard were really part of the turnaround plan used by Best Buy. First point is to reinvigorate and rejuvenate the customer experience. That is really the second layer in the Balanced Scorecard. Number 2, attract and grow transformational leaders and energize our employees. He's really talking about the 4th layer in the Balanced Scorecard. Number 3, work with vendors to innovate and drive value. Innovation is really part of the 3rd layer or the internal layer of the Balanced Scorecard. Number 4, increase the company's return on invested capital. He's really talking about the first layer, the financial returns, and by growing revenue and efficiency, which included cutting unproductive costs such as administrative and non-product expenses. He's really talking about the 3rd layer of the Balanced Scorecard. And the 5th point in the Renew Blue plan was to make the world a better place through a recycling program. That's really number 3 and number 4 layers of the Balanced Scorecard. Let's take a quick look at the financial results of Best Buy before Hubert Joly assumed the role of CEO in 2012. Best Buy had significant challenges. Walmart was taking deep discounts on a narrow product line and harvesting some key products out of Best Buy. Small phone shops were very much in vogue and during that period up to 2012, and they served as a major competitive threat. Amazon was growing online. They were taking a larger and larger chunk of market share from Best Buy. They charged no sales tax up until 2012, and so thus they had a favorable price advantage built into the prices offered by Amazon. So losses were mounting in the international market. So by and large, the financial results of Best Buy were mediocre at best. ROIC, return on invested capital, was mediocre. 2008 was 16.8%, had dropped all the way down to 10.9% in fiscal year 2012. And you look at the net operating profit after tax, again, it was ongoing decline during the period of time before Hubert Joly assumed the role of CEO. Let's fast forward to 2017 and look at the financial results of the Renew Blue plan as initiated by Hubert Joly. So let's look at the few numbers. Enterprise non-GAAP operating income in the upper right started off at 3.4% in fiscal year 13 and ended up at 4.3% in fiscal year 2017. If you look at the enterprise on the bottom chart, enterprise non-GAAP operating income moved from 3.4% to 4.3% in 2017. Return on invested capital, very strong story between 2013 and 2017, moved all the way up to 18.9%, a strong improvement and a testament to the Renew Blue plan by Hubert Joly. We just look at the first layer of the balanced scorecard from looking at the final results of 2017. Fairly strong story about what Best Buy accomplished in that turnaround period. Now we're going to go back and we're going to look at the different layers within the balanced scorecard to get a better idea of what they were dealing with and how they resolved some of the issues they were facing in 2012, 2013. First, they had an overall decline in market share driven by shifts in channel and product mix. If they were facing much lower market shares than Amazon, Amazon was using Best Buy as a showroom. Amazon would openly tell their customers to go to Best Buy, find what they want, and then find the same product at Amazon and buy it at a much lower price. Failure to capture the share of online sales, Amazon or Best Buy was struggling against Amazon. It only had 7% market share, where Amazon had 21% market share of a very fast growing segment. So Best Buy had serious challenges. Customer satisfaction scores at Best Buy were very low, and Best Buy tracked both in-store and online experience stores, and Best Buy was not doing well. Poor price perception. So even though Best Buy would have attractive or competitive prices, the customers overall believed that their prices were not competitive, which is not good. Here's another look at the market share dilemma by Best Buy in 2012. In the physical stores, Best Buy performed reasonably well, 18% market share on a $130 billion market. But when you looked at the online market, Best Buy could only muster a 7% share against Amazon's 21% share. And the online market was one of the fastest growing parts of the overall market. One of the key strengths that Best Buy had going into the 2012 reinvention effort was a large customer base. They had 40 million active and 75 million total members in their loyalty program. They also had a large service organization that was not committed to any particular brand. Most in the industry were committed to a particular brand. Best Buy was non-brand specific, and they could offer unbiased advice and offer customers a different perspective on product purchases and product services. They also had the Geek Squad support. Geek Squad was a formidable service organization. Many consumers, up to 50% of all households, say they have challenges working with technology, and the Geek Squad is one of those efforts that within the Best Buy and within the industry that can provide a level of service that most cannot. They also have a very productive model with high sales and operating profit per square foot. So Best Buy had many things going in their favor going into the turnaround effort. And this part, we're talking about both the internal operations and the customer part of the balanced scorecard. Hubert Joly had one very significant advantage over Amazon. He had a physical showroom where he could display products. So what he really had to do was to integrate the experience. So the solution was to boost the customer experience in an integrated way online and in store. So the price matching was effective and they could retail the products to the customer in a more effective manner. The second, they were losing margins as the volume dropped, the price competition became more fierce, and they had to turn that around. And that had to be solved by offering premium brands and building their product mix away from a commodity-based product offering. In 2012, Hubert Joly told the Wall Street Journal that customers entering a Best Buy store are ours to lose. And he was really saying that with the right product line, prices, and support, we should be able to convert those customers into sales in the store or be directed to the Best Buy website. So in 2012, the first major change on pricing policy, in-store pricing policy, was made, where employees would be given permission to price match some online competitors. Now, what we're really talking about here is both the first, second, and third layers of the balanced scorecard. The first layer is the financials, because you're giving price concessions which pass all the way through to the operating margin level, but you're matching and trying to keep customers into the Best Buy fold. And then third, you're redirecting the operations within the store to more cohesively match and compete against the online experience of Amazon. So you're doing three different things on the balanced scorecard. In 2012, the Wall Street Journal called the Best Buy website a throwback to the digital dark ages. So we're talking about a poorly executed site. Product information was limited, customer reviews were sparse, search was weak, and the recommendations were poorly customized. Overall, a pretty dismal performance for a large company commercial website. So we're talking about the customer segment within the balanced scorecard, and because the website is drawn internally from internal resources, I classified this as both customer and internal as far as operations at Best Buy. We're going to continue to talk about the website at Best Buy and talk about how they developed and worked on their e-commerce capability. And we're talking about the customer block within the balanced scorecard and the internal perspective operations within the balanced scorecard. So we're talking about both. E-commerce, expanding product assortment, adding more product information, improving product search, integrating product pages for consistency, simplifying access to reward zone points, making it easier for customers to add products and services like warranty and Geek Squad support. I can tell you from personal experience, about 6 weeks ago, I spent a fair amount of time going through a fairly complex order on the website at Best Buy. I was impressed with how well it handled my request. It did a great job. I was impressed. Many commercial retail sites could not have done what I asked the Best Buy site to do. A major change in 2013 and 2014 was the capability of having online fulfillment from all of its 1,400 stores. That was a major change in the internal operations of Best Buy. That opened up $2 billion of inventory at the customer and sales assistant view. So it really changed the dynamics. So it helped boost online sales, which were up 29% in the first quarter of 2014 and 22% compared to the previous year. That is part of the third part of the third block down in the balanced scorecard, the internal operations perspective. Another very important thing happened with the ship from store change in 2013 and 2014. The average delivery time was shorter than Amazon's for the very first time. That was a major competitive inroads against Amazon. It would take almost 18 to 24 months, almost 2 years, for Best Buy's competitors to catch up to the same capability. One of the key parts of the Renew Blue plan was to work with vendors, innovate, and create value. Best Buy had already added Apple stores within stores in 2007. Now they're expanding that concept to include Pacific Kitchen and Home stores within stores. And then they move forward with the Samsung commitment, stores within stores. They also added Sony, and they expanded Sony's role locations to 372 store locations. This is part of the internal, if you're looking at the balanced scorecard, this is the internal or the third layer down in the balanced scorecard. When Hubert Joly met with a financial analyst in 2012, he talked about one of the key parts of the Renew Blue plan, which was to improve store productivity. What does that mean? It means improving the overall margins at the retail level. Here's a map that Hubert Joly presented to the financial analyst in 2012. As you can see, there are various levels of percentages, and you'll note that there's 7%, 6%, 3%, 4%, and at the bottom, 6%. Those are low operating margin contributions by various product lines within the existing store format in 2012. So this was a review of the internal operations within the 1,400 stores at Best Buy. Early in the Renew Blue plan, Hubert Joly made a very conscious effort to start working on operating overhead at the corporate level. And one of the things he did was to eliminate the row policy. It's called the results only work environment, which is really essentially a remote work policy where employees could set their own work schedules, work at home, come to work when they wanted to, and so on and so forth. Hubert Joly made a direct change in that policy by saying, as the ship was sinking, all hands on deck. We are wrapping up our discussion on Best Buy, and the highlights we just talked about at the various parts of the balanced scorecard are by no means complete. If you look at the entire discussion of Best Buy and the case review from Harvard, there are many more parts to this reinvention of Best Buy. We've only picked highlights to talk about various parts of the balanced scorecard. By no means did Best Buy ever declare themselves committed to the balanced scorecard. The purpose of today's review was to go through and map various initiatives of Best Buy to the balanced scorecard to really demonstrate how relevant the balanced scorecard really is to a situation like a turnaround that Best Buy faced. So now the purpose of the review is to walk through again the parts of the balanced scorecard and lay the groundwork for the next assignment. The next assignment is going to be fleshing out the strategy map. And if you look at the strategy map, we have various parts within the strategy map that have yet to be fleshed out in our discussions about Best Buy. So there's trigger points, there's focal points, several focal points. There are various weights of lines. And then there is a distinguishing characteristic that puts them apart from the competition. And of course, there is a dotted line there, which is a weak form of relationship. So those parts of the strategy map have not been fleshed out, nor have many parts of the balanced scorecard, as we talked about in the chipset model. So we are now laying the groundwork for the next assignment.